A virgin queen dies childless. A Scottish king inherits her crown. And out of the chaos comes the most famous Bible ever written. This is not just royal history. It's a story that shaped nations, languages, and maybe even your bookshelf. Imagine being handed not just one crown, but two kingdoms and a whole set of problems with each. Today we're diving into the story of a king who went from ruling the rugged hills of Scotland to sitting on the throne of England, uniting crowns but not countries. James I. He followed the legendary Elizabeth I, launched one of the most influential Bibles in history, and left behind a legacy more tangled than a Tudor family tree. Let's rewind the clock to 1603 and unpack a royal power shift. A Bible that reshaped the English language, and the king who tried to bring it all together? Queen Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen, was one of the most iconic rulers in English history. She ruled for over 40 years with elegance, strategy, and sheer willpower. But she made one critical choice. She never married. No husband, no heir. And when she died in 1603, the throne passed, not to a child, but to a cousin. Entered James VI of Scotland. He was the great-great-grandson of Henry VII, giving him a legitimate, though distant, claim to the English throne. So James left the castles of Scotland and rode south to become James I of England. Just like that, he wore two crowns, one for Scotland, one for England. Two thrones, one king. But one united kingdom, not quite. Though James now ruled both realms, England and Scotland remained legally and politically separate. Different laws, different parliaments, different attitudes. Think of it like being the CEO of two companies that hate working together. You're in charge of both, but they've got different cultures, teams, and goals. That's the tightrope James walked. He dreamed of a united Britain, even called himself King of Great Britain, but Parliament wasn't interested. National pride and old rivalries stood in the way. So James ruled two kingdoms, but unity? That would have to wait. Beyond politics, James fancied himself a scholar king. He wrote books on kingship, witchcraft, and even a fiery rant against tobacco. He believed deeply in the divine right of kings, that God himself had placed him on the throne. But his real legacy would come through religion, specifically through one extraordinary book. The English church was divided. Anglicans, Puritans, Catholics, and religious tension was simmering beneath the surface. James wanted peace and unity. So, in 1604, he made a bold decision: commission a brand new translation of the Bible. This wasn't the first English Bible, but James wanted one version that would settle disputes, unify believers, and sound majestic when read aloud. He brought together over 50 of the best scholars and translators in the land. They worked from ancient Hebrew and Greek texts, comparing previous translations, debating meanings, and shaping a version that would last. In 1611, they completed the masterpiece, the King James Bible, also known as the Authorized Version. Its words were elegant, poetic, powerful phrases we use today, like "by the skin of your teeth, a thorn in the flesh." And the powers that be all come from this translation. It shaped not only religious life, but the English language itself. So who was James, really? He was brilliant, but awkward. Educated, but insecure. Powerful, but often politically clumsy. He fought with Parliament, distrusted his nobles, and struggled to win over the English public. But he avoided major wars, made peace with Spain, and kept the kingdom relatively stable. He left behind a son, Charles I, whose fate would be far darker. But James himself died in 1625, having ruled England for 22 years, Scotland for nearly 58. He wasn't a flashy king, but he was a thinking king, one who left behind ideas and words that lasted long after his crown passed on. Let's recap. Elizabeth I dies without an heir. James VI of Scotland becomes James I of England. He rules both kingdoms, but keeps them separate. He commissions the King James Bible, a cultural and linguistic milestone, and he sets the stage for future conflict and transformation. James VI and I might not be the most famous monarch, but his reign gave us a literary masterpiece, a political experiment, and a glimpse of what it means to lead divided people under one crown.